In this video, I'm going to cover some very basic introductory phrases, some vocabulary, conversation phrases, and a little bit of grammar. But before I do that, so you can find this lesson on my website, studythainow.com. It's lesson 1, absolute basics, hello, thank you, yes. This is the absolute beginner basic level for introductory phrases. It's just a handful of phrases and vocabulary words. But one thing I want you to make note of is the last part of this lesson is flashcards. And watching a video like this will help you to understand a concept, but there's a very big difference between understanding a language or understanding concepts in a language and memorizing vocabulary words. In other words, being able to use them and pull them from memory. You can't get that from a video, but you can from flashcards. So this game right here will let you test. I'll just give you a little demo here. You can start with the words from, these are the words from this lesson. You can start, it introduces it.
ไม่เป็นไร
You got audio for it. It gives you some examples. I'm just going to run through it real quick. And then once it introduces a few words, you have to try to select what you want, or select the right answer
ขอโทษ
from memory, and it'll help you through it. So learning from flashcards is a great way to actually memorize these phrases that are in this video. So going back to the vocabulary, at the very top here, we have the first word, sawatdi, which means hello or hi. Now, it's important to remember that this is not a complete phrase necessarily, because in Thai, we have words that we put at the end of phrases or sentences to change the feeling. You could think of them like almost like a punctuation mark. So if you're a man, then you would end this phrase with the word krap. And again, krap doesn't necessarily have meaning except for very specific contexts. Mostly, it just makes the sentence feel polite, professional, respectful. Without it, it feels very abrupt or harsh. So sawatdi is like hello. Sawatdi krap is hello, but with like a polite tone of voice. If you're a woman, instead of sawatdi krap, you would say sawatdi ka. Sawatdi ka with a falling tone, short falling tone. This is for statements. Unfortunately, for women, it's a little bit more complicated. If it's a question, you need to do a short high tone. So instead of ka, it would be ka. Alright, so we'll put some of those into use with our next vocabulary words. The word for thank you is ขอบคุณ. So if you're a man, ขอบคุณครับ. If you're a woman, ขอบคุณค่ะ. Right, so those are, that's the word for thank you. The word for no problem or you're welcome, ไม่เป็นไร. ไม่เป็นไร. You gotta roll your R there. ไม่เป็นไร. Okay, the word for to be correct or true is chai. In some cases it can mean yes, but in Thai, as we'll go over later, there's no direct word for yes, believe it or not. But you could say chai. So again, if you're a man, chai krap. If you're a woman, chai ka. Now the word mai changes anything to be a negative. So mai chai would become no or incorrect, not true. ไม่ใช่ครับ ไม่ใช่ค่ะ Alright, the word for sorry or excuse me is ขอโทษ ขอโทษ So ขอโทษครับ ขอโทษค่ะ The word for again is อีกครั้ง อีกครั้ง There's a word that when you make a statement, when you make a request, it adds a bit of softness to it, so it's not as harsh of a request, which is important if you're trying to be polite when you meet someone for the first time. And that word you add right before the krap or the ka, and that's noi. Noi. Two different phrases we could use for goodbye. The first one means more like see you again or see you later, and that's เจอกันใหม่ เจอกันใหม่ And then another one, which is more like goodbye, is ลาก่อนลาก่อน so mid-tone, low tone. Okay, so now we have some dialogues. So let's say a man says สวัสดีครับ and we can listen to the audio on the website too, just so you know it's not all my voice.
สวัสดีครับ
And then the woman says in response สวัสดีค่ะ maybe he says thank you ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับ
and she says ไม่เป็นไรค่ะ
ไม่เป็นไรค่ะ
there you go ขอโทษครับ right here. Again, you can also, even for, so this is sorry, or excuse me, you could say ไม่เป็นไรค่ะ and then goodbye เจอกันใหม่นะครับ This little nut that's added in here is just another bit to add it, make it feel a little bit more soft, friendly, polite. Next, ลาก่อนลาก่อน right? So we've talked about a few of these grammar notes already, but just as a reminder, ครับ or ka can be the male and female particle, or the male and female particles to add politeness, a feeling of respect. They don't have a direct meaning, but they make it sound more natural and friendly. Now the exception right here is when a woman asks a question. So here we have the expression, what is your name? So your kun name ชื่อ อะไร is what? And then they add, instead of the falling tone, they add the high tone คะ so คุณชื่ออะไรคะ Right? It's very subtle, but it is important to get in the habit of saying things correctly from the beginning. Now, in Thai, there's no direct word for yes or no. There's some kind of rules, but chai and mai chai is a good place to start. Chai being correct, mai chai being no or incorrect. Some examples here. Ni khong kun chai mai is saying this is yours, right? Or is that so? This might seem like I just said mai again, but this is actually a different word here, mai, that makes it a yes or no question. So, ni hong hun chai mai, is this yours? Well, you could say yes by saying chai, as in that's true, it is. Or mai chai, as in no, it isn't. Always with krap or ka. Our final example is the usage of that word noi, as a polite request. It makes it more polite, a little less rough. So if, for example, someone says, hey, can you please speak more slowly? พูดช้าๆหน่อยครับ So you could just say พูดช้าๆ is speak slowly. This is duplicated to make it twice. And then หน่อย to make it softer, the request softer. And of course always ครับ or ค่ะ รอแป๊บหนึ่งหน่อยค่ะ Please wait just a little moment. Please wait a little bit. But again, that's a request. So you add noi to make it a softer request. And then please explain it, or please explain. ช่วย is the word for help. อธิบาย is the word for explain. And then noi as that soft request thing. ครับ Right? So that's a lot of information. If this is your first introduction to Thai, it's probably a whole lot of information. But remember, again, understanding something even takes a little bit of time. But the best first step is put things into your memory. So again, we have a flashcard game at the end of the game. I would love to hear your feedback on the game. If it's too hard, if it's too easy, if there are things that are buggy or whatever, or on the lesson. That way I can improve for the next ones. And I hope to see you for the next lesson.